All right. So, hello everyone. Let's just wait for 1 or 2 minutes for everyone else to join, and then we'll start the session. Okay, Ursula, are you there?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Scholarship Track, another live session. Today we have Arsalan with us. He is a MLH Technical Program Associate. He's a GitHub field expert and he's a full stack developer. So today he'll be talking about all the web dev tools that are very essential for all the web developers out there. So I hope each one of you get something to grab from this session. Over to you, Ursula. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. Um, Thanks for inviting me. So, can you share my screen
Yeah.
on the StreamYard? Awesome. Thanks. All right. Hey, folks. So I am Asran. I am not as Khatak dev on the internet. So if in case you want to connect with me, my handle everywhere on every social media is the same, which is Khatak dev. So this session is about web dev tools. So this is focusing on like this is just for the web developers. So if you're a Python developer, if you're someone who is into machine learning or something else, so um, and if you haven't trust if you still haven't trust into like how to improve your productivity, how to debug your web applications, those kind of things, so this session is for you. Now let's start with the session. As Shankar already gave my introduction, but I'm just going to go through it again quickly, and then we're going to move to the agenda part. So I'm Aslan Khatak. I am a GitHub field expert, which is like kind of like a senior campus expert, and I'm working as a program associate at MLH, specifically in the fellowship department, which is in open source fellowship, um, open source 12 weeks of program for the students. So moving on to the agenda, what we have today is we are going to start with what and why DevTools. If you do not know what is DevTools, what are DevTools, so we're gonna start with that. So like I can convince you that why do you even need to listen to me? Or like why do you need to even care about DevTools? And then why DevTools? So you know why you need to care about DevTools or why you need to learn it. Then we're gonna go with to get a general overview because there are a lot of things in DevTools. So we are not going to cover every single thing. So first we will go through the DevTools and get a general idea of what are the things that you have there or what are the features. And then we are going to dig into some most commonly used features. So that is the idea. That is the agenda for this session. So starting with what are DevTools? So DevTools are basically DevTools are known as developer tools. They are collection of helpful features to help developers debug, test, enhance the application, and improve your productivity. So that is the general idea of DevTools. Um, when we will move towards the common features and when we will dig into that, or maybe when we move into the general overview, I will be that will be like more of a hands-on part. So I will be showing you exactly how you can open this, how it works, how you can use this, etc. So um, I'm just going to first go through like the general idea of what and why DevTools, and then we will move on towards the exciting part. So yeah, that's the general idea. Dev2 stands for developer tools, which is a collection of developer tools that helps you to improve your productivity and a lot of things. So here is an example. Here is how it looks. Developer tools. So this is a screenshot of developer tools from Google Chrome. Developer tools is something that you can find in your browser. It is available in almost every browser that I know, especially like Firefox, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, etc. So this is an example of from Google Chrome, and this is how it looks. Of course, we're going to dig into it and see how maybe this doesn't make sense to you at this point, but we're gonna get more in detail and talk about this. So how you can open the DevTools? The most simple way is just right click anywhere on your page, on your web page, and select the inspect option. Or if you're on Mac, so you can go for Command Option J. Or if you're on Windows or Linux, Chrome OS, etc. So you can go for Control Shift J, and that is how you can open DevTools. Now moving on, why DevTools? Why do you even need to care about DevTools? Why do you even need to learn DevTools? Why am I even here talking about DevTools? Why are you even listening to me? So let's talk about that. So the first thing is you can improve it can improve your productivity. You can when you start working and using DevTools, you will be able to improve your productivity a lot. And this we are going to see an example of this as well once we move on to the hands-on part. But one of the reason for which you need to use DevTools is it improves your productivity. Next thing, uh, debugging. So it helps you to debug your application. We will also see that see an example or like how to do it. I will not be going through it like exactly with an actual use case, but I will give you an idea of like how you can debug your applications. And then the last, real-time monitoring. We are also going to see an example of this. We are actually going to see example of these three, are like productivity, debugging, and real-time monitoring. How you can see this. This real-time monitoring is more about the network calls or the API calls that you send to the backend, and you get a response from backend to the front end, etc. So that is specifically about that part. But we are going to see how it works. Now, that was the general idea of the dev tools, and maybe it still does not make very sense to you. You still may be wondering what are the dev tools. Like you may know this that it's a collection of set, but you're still not sure like how to use it, or like it doesn't make very sense to you. So I will now try to help you get a very good idea of it by going and showing you exactly how you can open this, and how where you can find this, how you can open this, and what is there in the DevTools for you. But if you have any question, feel free to ask that, and I will try my best to answer you. So with that, let's jump into it. I'm going to open a new tab. So one thing to keep in mind, the tab that you have opened, and whenever you open the DevTools, it is specific to that tab which you have opened. For example, if I open this, if I open my DevTools here, while I have Google open, it's going to be different than if I open it in GitHub. This one will be totally different. Um, or maybe I just open it here. And if I go to inspect, so like here is the one way. You can right click and go to inspect. So that is one way. The next is what we studied was Command Shift J. Oops, uh, Control Shift J. Um, but yeah, like there are different options that you can use. So this is DevTools, and I'm going to actually detach this from my browser. Currently, it's attached to the browser, and there are different layouts that you can try on your DevTools. So here, with the close icon, right next to it, there is this three dots. These three dots. If you click on that, there are four options here, and this is how you can lay out your DevTools. So I'm going with the first option, which completely undock it or detach it from the browser. So now I have this as a completely independent and separate windows. Okay. So we are going to have a general idea of these tabs that exist here, so that you get a general idea of like what can you do, or like what are the features um, in the DevTools, and then we will talk about a few of those tabs in detail. In other words, the most commonly used. So the first one is the Elements tab. which consists all of your HTML, and this thing, which this kind of markup which kind of looks like HTML, is not actually HTML. This is known as document object model, known as DOM. So whenever you open a website, it fetches your HTML, it loads your HTML, but that HTML is converted into a document object model. And as you can see, like you can collapse it and you can expand it. So this is something that looks like HTML, but it is not HTML. It is known as document object model. And also, this may be a question for interview. That person can ask you about, like, what is this? Is this HTML or is this something else? So yeah, something to keep in mind. So this is the document object model. And on this side, we have the styles, all of the CSS styles. And again, we are going to talk about this in detail, but I'm just going to give you a general idea. Here is the console tab, which is, like, as the name say, it's console. So you can do some JavaScript here. If I do console log the word, it's going to print hello world for me. So you can even write functions here, something like this. So this is the console tab where you can do where you can write your JavaScript. The next step sources. So in this step, you can add your code snippets, you can debug your code, and you can even use this step for, if you do not want to use a code editor like Visual Studio Code, Sublime, Atom, etc. You can use this. You can even use Devtools as your code editor, and you can use it to save your code and test your code, etc. And this is something we will see in a second. But in this step, you can do like different kind of things. Adding your code snippet, watching. You can see out of the file here. That has to do with this page. For example, um, if I open this, I can see all of the assets, I can see all the images, etc. And I can this tab can be used for debugging. As I said, again, we're gonna see that how exactly can you do this once we go through this. Networking tab is something that has to do with um, the everything about networking, like all of the API calls. So here are a few of the API calls, and we will talk about this in detail in a while. But the general idea about the network tab is it has to do with the API calls, and all of the calls, all of the network calls that you send or receive, etc. Application tab, here you can see everything about, so like if you are making a progressive web application. So for those of you who do not know about progressive web apps, progressive web apps are like, um, it work kind of like a native mobile application, but they're not actually mobile application. I'm not sure how many of you have experienced this, but sometimes when you go to a website using your mobile, specifically in Google Chrome, you see a pop-up saying add this to your home screen, and when you add that website to your home screen, it gives like you may think like it's like a native application, but that's not an actual application once you click on add to home screen. um, so that is what's called progressive web apps. So everything about the progressive web apps, you can see that here. For example, this manifest, service worker, storage, etc. If you do not know about progressive web apps, you don't need to worry about this. But for those of you who have some idea about progressive web apps, um, in every browser there are different kind of databases, storages. So you can see that here as well. So like, for example, local storage, session storage, IndexedDB, um, even the cookies, etc. And these functions, these are also about the, so like you may have experienced this when you have not opened your YouTube, or you have not opened your Gmail or Facebook, but still you get the notification on your machine, on your operating system. So that is something that works. That notification thing, that is something that is also a part of progressive web apps. So everything, those progressive apps especially, that has to do with this tab, application tab. The performance tab is something that you can use to see how your website performance is. Um, for example, if I record this, so I just refresh the page, I didn't do anything special. But here you can see how much time it took for the website and what were the phases. So, for example, how much the system was idle, how much time was taken by the system, how much time was taken by the painting. So, painting means like when the page is being showed, how much time is being taken by rendering, and how much time was taken by scripting, etc. And you can even see like how it was how was it during that specific time. For example, like it has like different screenshots, so you can see that as well. So this tab is all about performance. And moving on, so we have the memory tab. So there might be some cases when you're working and uh, your memory or the variables that you're making has some data leaks. So that is something that you can manage here. To be very honest with you, I have not used this tab ever. Apart from like getting a general idea, I have not opened this tab ever. So yeah, this may be a case with you as well. But yeah, this has to do with memory. And then security. This here you can get some basic details about your website. Like for example, here you can see is the website HTTPS valid, what's the certificate, you can see the certificate connection and other resources, etc. This one is my most favorite one. This used to be a separate extension, but Lighthouse is something that you can use to test how good your website is in terms of performance, accessibility, etc. Um, can we look up the performance of our own web pages? So Manjeet is asking, can we look up the performance of our own web pages? Yes, definitely, you can do that using the performance tab. But I actually find so this Lighthouse is also something that has to do with the performance, and I find this something that helps me personally more as compared to the performance tab. This if there is like something that is like I mean, for like super basic things on like just getting an idea of like how long your website takes, or like about the super basic things, you can use this Lighthouse, and this is like something that can help you to do your job most of the times. So I would suggest you to go with this. It's quite easy and it's like super awesome extension by Google Chrome. So I would suggest you to go with this. In some cases you may need performance, but I doubt if you need this for like especially for like your portfolio, like some simple web pages, etc. Especially for like when you have like static single page single page websites or single page applications, or like something that you build using Next.js or something like that. In that case, I don't think you will be needing performance. So yeah, you can go with Lighthouse, and it's gonna help you to see how fast your website is, like how good your website is, including the best practices, SEO, etc. The good thing about this Lighthouse is it even gives you suggestions on how to improve your website. For example, if your website is taking like 5 minutes, 5 seconds to load, it can help you. It will also be giving you suggestions on how can you improve this. For example, it says your images are like too heavy, too high definition, and but still like they are like, for example, like this image that you see of this person, it's a very small image, and this does not need to be like a very high definition image because it's like a very small image. So if there is like if you did something like that in your website, where the image is like, let's say 2 MB or 1 MB, for this dimension or for this screen size, this size, you do not need like a very high dimension definition image. So it will give you a suggestion for that to reduce the size of your image. All right. um, Recorder, this is something that was previously added. But I am not very sure about this type, but I think this is something that can help you to record the performance. So as I said, and I think this is an experimental feature, preview feature, as you can see. So yeah, I do not know much about this tab, so I'm not going to talk much about this. But yeah, these are like some of the basic things Now, of course, there are like a lot of things that I have not covered here. And you can even one can even make a whole Udemy course, or like write a whole book on this on the Chrome DevTools. So that this is something that I cannot cover in just one session. But like I just give you like some of the like a very general idea of the main features or the main tabs of DevTools. So I hope this makes sense. And again, if you have any question, feel free to ask in the chat section. Um, all right. So now we got a general idea or the general overview. The next thing that we are going to do is we're gonna see the most common features in the DevTools. So for that, I am going to again open my DevTools, and we're going to see three tabs here for productivity, debugging, and real-time monitoring. The first one is elements, the second one is the sources, and the third one is the network tab. So let's go with the elements. And the things that I will be talking about here, that too is something that's not only limited to what I talk about. There are much more features that exist here, but I will talk about some of the most simple or some of the most useful or some of the most common used features. So let's talk about that. The first thing, this is something that I'm pretty sure most of you may know about this, but uh, if I like hover on something, it highlights that thing on my screen, as you can see here. Whenever if I, for example, if I click on this, if I hover my mouse on this, so it's highlighting this part. So this actually means that this code is for this part of the website. So this is I'm pretty sure this is something that almost all of you know about. So, but we can. So, for example, if you're working and you're like continuously making some changes and you want to test something, so rather than like moving back and forth between your code editor and your browser, you can even like directly do some changes here. For example, this is our activity, which is this part. Um, so what I can do here is I can like even directly do some changes. I just type activity of um, user. So it will change that activity of user. This is something that will not be saved once you refresh the page. It will be again back to that original state. But this is something that you can use to just to see how your website is behaving or how your website will look with that thing or with that new HTML content, etc. So uh, yeah, this is rather than like moving back and forth between your website, you can use this feature to directly make some changes and see how it works. So just like with making changes to the HTML part, in other words, the doc and DOM, you can also do the changes to your CSS tagging as well. And this, I believe, the most interesting or the most useful feature, because you can see how the style works. For example, um, let me let me click let me add some styling. So um, maybe I can try increasing the bar. If this is my website, if GitHub is my website, and I want to change like these images are in circle, and I want them to be rectangle, and just to see it and just to test it, I can just right click on this, and this is the image, and there is the style dot avatar dot user, and here's the border radius. So if I remove this, so now this is how it looks. It's again not completely rectangle; it still has some border radius. Yeah. So, but I can see from here how it looks. If I have rectangle images. Now I did the changes, but I have not saved it. So if when I refresh the page, it will be again back to that original state. So this instant changes kind of like preview feature helps you to improve your productivity. So like without this, you will need to go back and forth between your code editor and browser. This is most useful when you have to do some smart tweaks, like you are going to set you're setting margin, padding, font size, etc. And then you're you're checking one each a single digit every time, like 14 pixel, 15 pixel, 16 pixel, 17 pixel, and so on. So that's gonna take a lot of time when you use code editor. So this way you can save like a lot of your time. For example, this has a padding top and bottom. If I want to see how will this look with the 25 pixel, I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard, and I can test this. So this is super simple and super easy, and it helps you to improve your productivity a lot. So that is one of the thing. Moving on, you can. There are sometimes when you're using pixels. Um, so pixel is like a unit to which eventually your all of the units are converted. But sometimes you may be using view height, VH, view width, VW, percentages, or anything like that, which are eventually converted to pixels. So you can see the computed here in the computer tab. So here you can see all of the for example, if I change this to percentage, it will be still showing me uh, here it will be showing me uh, what is the value in pixels. So for example, if I change this to uh, 16 pixel, I mean, that's like a quite huge padding. But if I go to computer tab, um, I will be able to see the padding bottom, which is 156 pixel, 1.469. So you can see all of the computed values here. And another useful feature here is sometimes you may be using some framework like Bootstrap or something else, um, and you may be mixing up different styles. So you can even see which style is this HTML picking by seeing this. For example, this padding is being picked by padding.scss and line number 35. It even show you the exact line number. Uh, so you can use this feature to get an idea of which style is it picking. Because if you're having multiple style and they conflict, it's gonna pick only one of that. So this is something that's very useful when you are having multiple files and multiple style files, and you are not very sure which style is being picked. Um, all right. So now moving on. For example, if I click on this, so here you can see it kind of gives me a pop up when I hover on it. Div.follow, um, and it shows here. What that means is this is something that's not currently on in the view, in the focus of this window, which means it's somewhere at the bottom. Sometimes, especially when you have position absolute, this may be the case when you're looking for something and you're not able to find this. If there is such case and you want to instantly find that, you can just right click on that and go to scroll into view this image, this option. If I can zoom in for a bit, um, scroll into view. So you can go for this, and this will instantly show you what is that div, that image, that heading, or whatever it is, and you will be able to see that. Let me refresh the page to remove the padding. All right. Um, so this is another useful feature that can help you, especially when you're using position absolute or something like that, so that the you can get that element or that tag into view. All right. Um, there may be a case when you are trying something and you want to see whether this page will look with that tag or with that design or without that design. For example, consider this is a design, this whole section, and I want to see how will this look if I remove this. Um, so one way to test this is I can completely I have to completely click on this and do backspace, and that will completely remove it. I mean, delete it. But if I do not want it, I want to just hide it and keep the spacing. So how can I do this? So for that, if you want to remove the item, remove the tag, but keep the space. So for that, you can right click on this, and there is an option that is hide element. If I zoom in, this option. So this option is something that you can. Uh, Let me zoom in with. Oops, just a second. So yeah. So if I right click, and here is the option, hide element. So I just noticed I guess it's not zooming in the stream, it's just on my screen. But yeah, here is the option. If I click on this, it hides that, but it's not like, it just hides it. It's not removed. And if I click on this, you can see there was this. What happened here is that it actually adds a CSS class to it, which has a very visibility hidden. So it actually adds a visibility hidden class. Nothing special, nothing, no magic here. And if I uncheck this, it removes that class. So please keep this thing in mind that it actually adds a CSS class. So if for example this feature is not working, chances are something is conflicting with the style. Um, so yeah. All right. Another thing is you may want to take a screenshot of something. Like if you want to take a screenshot of a whole web page, you can do Control Shift P or Command Shift P and type screenshot, and there are like different screenshots. So you can go for like capture full size screenshot, and it will take a screenshot and it will save that. So if I open this, it is actually like the whole website screenshot, and you can see how high definition it is. I mean, like I zoomed in too much, still the content looks very like it's still like not very it's still like a high definition content. It's completely readable, even though I have zoomed in a lot. So that is one of the way to take a screenshot. If I do again Control Shift P, a Command Shift P, and type screenshot, and there is this other option, capture screenshot. If I click on that, and if I open this, so this just the capture screenshot takes a screenshot of all of the available area or whatever is being showed currently on the screen. So it takes a screenshot of that. Um, in Windows, especially if I take a snippet of something, in Mac it's somewhat better than Windows. But in Windows, if you take a snapshot, something like this, and if you try to then zoom into that, uh, that's like not very good screenshot. It's like the pixels are not very good. So if you want to have like a very good high definition screenshot of something that's like a very small, one way is to like zoom in, but if in case you do not want to zoom in, if you want to just take a screenshot without zooming in, what you can do here is you can uh, click on the click on that tag in the DOM, and then right click on this, and then there is this option, capture node screenshot. And if you click on that, and if I open this, so now this is a very high definition screenshot. And even if you zoom in, it's still gonna like it's still like somewhat better than if you take this um, using the Windows snippet tool. So it's better than snippet tool. So yeah, this is something that you can use, and this will help you to capture some high definition screenshots. All right. Um, One last thing in the editing feature, in the editing tab, I'm not going to show you a practical example of this because I will need to have a code for this, which I don't have at this point at this moment. But you can even add like if you do debugging, you may know about breakpoints, which is like an event that triggers when something specific happens. So I can even right click on this, and I can go to break on, and then do sub tree modification, attribute modification, and node removal. So these are the three options that I have: sub tree modification, attribute modification, and I'm not very sure if this is something that's visible to you folks on the screen, but unfortunately I cannot zoom in the settings. I can zoom in the window, but I cannot zoom in this. So but it says sub key modification, attribute, and node remover. So if you click on something, it actually like add this kind of circle here. So if like this node remover means that this will pass the code. This will stop the the process for a while. If a node of this, if a child node of this tag is removed. So that is the general idea of node removal. Subkey modification. The attribute modification is something that means that if so node removal is actually like this node itself, and subtree modification is when a subtree of this tag is being modified, right? Its content or something like that. And then the one attribute modification means, so if any of the attribute of this file of this tag is being modified. Again, this would make more sense if I give you an example, but unfortunately I do not have any example at this point. uh, but I would suggest you to try this by like adding a function and then using JavaScript, an event handler, and then trying this with that by adding a breakpoint and then trying this. All right. um, so this is about this was about the editing tab, and these are the things that can help you improve your productivity a lot. So the next thing that we have is the sources tab. This one. The console tab is like pretty straightforward. So like this is something that you can use for console log, writing JavaScript, etc. So let's jump into the sources tab, and let's talk about like what we have here. If I full screen this, okay. So on this side, on the left side, you have the pages where you can see all of the GitHub content or the website that you have opened. So you can see it's index.html, it's manifest.json. This is a file that is used for progressive web apps. You can see like all of the content here. For example, in the assets, I can go to the assets. I can see the webpack, all of the JavaScript files, all of the style sheets, etc. So, um, yeah, and I can even see all of the images here. Um, so everything, uh, you may know this, like the front end code is always being shown. Can You can always see the front end code on in the browser, and you can see that here in this tab. So this is the pages tab. Then you have the file system. So in the file system, there are different things. Um, Starting with the file system, so yeah, one of them is you have the file system, you have overrides, you have the content scripts and snippets. This file system is something that you can use to um, use this DevTools as your as your code editor. For example, if I click on add folder to workspace, and I go to something, I pick something. For example, I go with this tribute page, this like a simple tribute page which I made for a class of students. And it's going to ask me for permission, and I allow this. Now, this is my um, how should I put this in word? This is the tribute page, and I do not need my code editor anymore. I can just simply add things here. I modify this website here, and it will be saving that file on my working machine. So like the thing that you do in like the code changes that you do in your browser, in your code editor, the same thing you can do here. So now with this, so if you have like some local host that started and that's running, and you open that here, uh, and you have opened that here in the DevTools, you can modify that. So now this is the website, this is my code, and if I do some changes here, it will be saved on my Gokra disk as well. Unlike the Elements tab, when I do the changes and when I refresh it, it's returned back to it returns back to the original state. But here, if I make some changes, if I close this, if I reopen this, if I restart my computer, it will keep the changes once I save it. So that's the file system. The next thing, overrides. Overrides is something that helps you to, like, for example, um, if you have some styling that you're like repeating somewhere or something like that, so overrides is something that you can use for that you can use to save the styles. Let me give you an example. There is a very good GIF that will help you to understand more. So if I click on learn more, um, here you can see. So pay attention to this GIF. If like in this GIF, it changed the color of the background, and once they refresh, the color is the same. So what that means is that if you enable this and if you save something to this, you will be able to save those changes even if you refresh the page. The good thing, one thing I like about DevTools is it has documentation mentioned everywhere. For example, in the overrides, you can click on learn more and it will give you a complete idea of how can you do this. So yeah, this is the good part of DevTools. All right. Um, if I go back to the sources, so this is the overrides. Then we have the content script. So this is for the um, those changes will be for us only. Yes, those changes will be for you, and it will not be for someone else. All right. This content script, this has to do with the extensions that you have. This it has like the extensions JavaScript file, other extensions scripts or the JavaScript, um, and I mean it's straightforward, so I do not need to talk much about this. Here's an interesting part: snippet. So if you want to make like a small snippet, rather than saving that on your local disk and making a folder for that, you can actually create a quick snippet here. I can call this anything, maybe um, Devtools. Like save this as not just Devtools, Devtools.js. Um, so if I rename this Devtools.js and I type console log or maybe const name number equals to 999 and console log this. I save this using Command S or Control S and then do Command Enter or Control Enter. You can see that number here. And now this script is being saved forever. Those other scripts that you can see here, this is something that I wrote like last week and they're still here. So if you write something here, if you make a snippet here, it will be saved forever until unless you remove the data from machine, from your local disk. In that case, it will be removed, but it will be there forever. Yeah, so this is another like one of the cool feature. So if you want to try some snippet, you can quickly open the DevTools, go to the sources, go to the snippet, create a new snippet, and add your code there. All right. Um, Let me make a function here. So if I make a function and fn, which takes an input as a number, quite a simple one, and return num multiplied by num. So now this is a function, and if I call this, um, maybe I'm writing this for a reason, and I will show you like what is the reason. So the number is, and if I do fn and add 2, save this, execute this, so it says the number is 2 and 4. For example, I have like a very large piece of code here. This is something that works in the pages file as well. But for example, I have something here and I want to debug this. um, I can quickly, like if I click on line number 5, so it adds like a strip here. It highlights that. Now if I execute the code, it passed that code here, and now I can do a step-by-step execution here. I can see all the breakpoints that I have. I can see what are the local data I have. So for example, num is currently 2. I have the script, like this whole script, which has the number 999, but in the local scope, I have the num2. I have the global scope, which has everything. So yeah, now here I can go back and forth between this. So this is like the usual, like the usual debugging that you do in your Visual Studio Code or any other debugger. So that is it's the same as that. So I can go to the next step. I can get out of the function, get over the next line, next function, etc. Uh, so you can also do debugging here, and it's pretty much the same as you do in your Visual Studio Code, Atom, Sublime, etc. All right. So this was the breakpoint that was added here. You can even add fetch breakpoints or exit breakpoints. What this means is what this means is that if your website is making a request to multiple has multiple uh, APIs or when it's making requests and you add something here. For example, if I let me see something. So if I click on this and if I copy this, go back to the sources, um, I open this and I add this, and then I uh, refresh the page. So this request did not actually work. Um, Let me find a simple one. Maybe I can go to Hadoop Dev if I can find this here. But so what I'm trying to achieve here is you can even add fetch breakpoints. So what this means, like for example, now in this case, if there is, I think I need to make it a bit specific. Let me refresh this page, and then let's see what we have here. Um, we have a lot of things, but if I try to get this, so if I try to maybe just get this part and go to the sources and add this. What this means is that whenever a request will be made, which will have the underscore next slash image in the path, it will start a breakpoint. It will stop the execution there. So let's see if okay. I think this makes sense. I believe this is not working because of so let me make a quick call here in the if I go to oops if I go to the snippets and if I go to the Devtools and if I try to make a call to fetch, um, there is a website where you can get a dummy JSON. So if I get it from there, um, just gonna do this super quickly. Just copy this code and if I paste this code here and then I try to get the JSON placeholder and add this here. And now if I refresh this, oops, I do not need to refresh this actually. I just need to execute this. So if I execute this piece of code, it stops. It stops here. And that is because I have this condition, URL contains JSON placeholder. If there is some such thing, add a breakpoint there. And now, so this means I can even add a breakpoint. So I can stop the execution, pause the execution based on the breakpoints. So this is something also quite useful. All right. What we have next is so yeah, that's the general idea. You can add some DOM breakpoint, which is here. If you add a sub key modification or anything, you will be able to see that here. So this is all about breakpoints and debugging section. Now the last section which we have, I'm going to cover this super quickly. So this section is about are the API calls and every are the API calls, are the connection calls that you have here. So when you refresh a page, so if I refresh the page, all of the connections, all of the API calls that I get, all of the HTML, CSS, everything that I get can be seen here. So this is and this is by the way from logs of Dev website. So you can see everything here. You can see the status, you can see the type, initiator, size, etc. time, waterfall. This waterfall is quite cool feature. So for example, if you have an API call that's taking like quite a long time, you can see what's wrong with it. For example, I have this index.json. If I click on this, I can go to preview, I go to response, or maybe preview, and it gives me like page props. Type of that is article ID 891774, title GitHub command packet. This is this is the JSON for this GitHub command packet. So um, here you can see details about this. You can even see the response. Initiator is something which initiator is basically what is the file or the activity or like the folder or the API or something like that thing which initiated this request. So that in this case it's like quite a huge list, but it tells you like what initiated this. So it like how or when it was initiated and what it initiated. um, and then you have the size, the time, and again the important thing is the waterfall. For example, if something is taking like too much time, you can see like what is it that's like stopping it. For example, if I click on this, I just move my mouse on top of it, I can see a request sent, waiting, content, download, etc., queuing, start, etc. You can see the explanation here if you click on the explanation. But uh, so the request was sent in 0.18 millisecond. um, I was waiting for response for this much time, and the content was downloaded in this much time, and this is the total. Again, this is something that you can see if you click on the explanation tab, and you will get a complete idea of this. Another thing is you can see out of the request. Like in this case, it was 53 request. Um, oops. How can I open this again? Let me go to inspect. Yeah. So if I refresh the page again, so yeah, here are the few things, how much time it took to finish. And then I have the DOM content load and I have the load. So DOM content load is like the time it takes to like parse and load all of this, excluding like waiting for the images and style sheet to be completed. And this is like the total time. So it my like this is so this website, the Khadak.dev, loads in everything, including like including the images and style sheet and everything. It loads in like 1.93 second. And this is like without loading those images, etc. It's just getting those. So yeah, and lastly, so you have these features here. This is the timeline view of like how much like when an API was called and um, what time it was. Uh, if you uncheck the preserve mark and you like refresh the page, it will not be showing you all of the logs, all of the updated API calls. Sorry, this is about like if you preserve this and if I refresh this, it will like still I will still have these logs. But if I like uncheck this and if I refresh the page, all of the logs will be removed and it will be again making showing me the new logs. But if I preserve it, it will still be there even if I refresh the page. This is to like remove it. This is to record this. So if I like uncheck this when this is white, this means that even if I refresh the page, it's not showing me anything, and I am refreshing the page. But if I like click on this, it start recording, and I can then see the pages. You can disable cache here, and then you can see how it's behaving. You can even like do test like with slow internet, fast 3G, slow 3G. You can go even offline, etc. So yeah, like this is all about networking, and you can see like how it works. um, but this is like very useful when you're having some when you have to deal with API calls, connection, etc. All right. Um, so yeah, as I said, I will be just talking about like the basic features are the most commonly used features, which are like these three elements, sources, networks. So that is pretty much it. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Otherwise, if you want to connect with me over LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., my handle is khadak.dev and my website is khadak.dev. So if you have any feedback for me, please do send me on LinkedIn or Twitter. My email is me@khadak.dev, and I would love to hear from you. Things you like about the workshop or things you don't like about the workshop, etc. And that's pretty much it. If you have any question, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm gonna hand it over back to you, Shankar.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Aslan, for conducting this session. I hope each of the viewers got something to learn. Also, like people were saying, they were definitely gonna try this out. So I hope it is useful to them, and we are already very much out of time. So if you have any quick doubts, quick questions with Arsalan, you can just mention it over here, and he'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll just wrap this up. Anything, Arsalan, you want to say to the viewers?
Nope, that's pretty much it, I believe, for today.
Okay, so with this, if we do not have any more doubts, let's just wrap it up. Thank you, Arslan, once again for coming to the scholarship track and for enlightening us with such a session. And let's just wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, and please subscribe to Scholarship Tracks YouTube channel. We post about various sessions and we post about various scholarships coming. So please follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.